Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, M&R Productions, and welcome to Ask M&R episode 186, the series where I answer your questions. If you have a question you want to answer on next week's episode, leave in the comments section below, and while you're there, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Big news this week, I finally got the Yavin 4 out of my room. It literally was sitting on the floor there for like a month. I also had to put a pizza pan under it to move it, and that's the pizza pan I use to cook my pizza, so like I kind of needed it back, so I finally cleared the space off in the garage, and it's gone. I don't know, it just kind of felt important to tell you. Anyway, first question from Ian says, do you think the lack of LEGO Star Wars commercials is hurting the sales? So yeah, there certainly is a lack of LEGO Star Wars commercials. I've not seen the new from LEGO Star Wars, the Moff Gideon's Cruiser commercial or whatever.
New from LEGO Star Wars. The Jedi are in pursuit of Cad Bane and General Grievous. Quick, you can build a massive clone turbo tank. Each set sold separately.
We haven't seen that sort of stuff with a lot of the newer sets, and that's because it's kind of a bygone era way of advertising, I feel like. Like, a lot of the LEGO advertisements that I now see are kind of integrated web advertisements, so you have a lot of those on, like, sidebars of websites, where if you've looked up LEGO, it'll, like, put it in front of you, and then they also have, you know, Instagram ads and everything, so they've got advertisements like that, but they also don't really need to, because people like myself and many others on YouTube literally do it for free, or in many cases literally pay LEGO to advertise for them. So yeah, they don't really have to do commercials, and it's certainly not hurting the sales. Shock Trooper says, do you still play Warzone with all these hackers? I do, and I hate it. Apparently there's an anti-cheat coming like November 5th, so only like 3 more months of pain.
Oh my god,
he's beaming. He's beaming.
They cheating?
Whoa!
Whoa, he's cheating. He's cheating. Yeah.
Might be.
Oh my god,
yeah.
yep. All headshots.
Yes.
That sucks, bro.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Oh my
cheating.
God. Get us out, bro. Oh my god. Sawyer Moore says, why are all your brickbusters private? Kind of like a philosophy change in my life. Also, specifically for the Bricklink ones, I'm very pro-capitalism, I think, and that's kind of like the one, I don't even want to call it a political stance, but that's like my thing. Like, if you want to buy something and sell it, go for it. That's kind of where I've landed in that as I've kind of grown up over the past 4 years or so since that video came out. But my general philosophy on my channel, and what I think is just better in general, is I don't want to be making videos about other people, especially other people on YouTube. I want to make videos about things. Videos about things, not people. Just like a very simple sentence I've kind of come up with to myself. Lego Danny Bob says, have you read any of the Thrawn books? Timothy Zahn's first Thrawn from 2017 is the best IMO. I have not read them. I have started listening to them about a year ago. I did like an Audible ad thing, and I actually listened to like the first 7 or 8 chapters of that Thrawn book on Audible, and like it was good, or like the first one of, I think, the new trilogy. And it was really good, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, I have a really hard time like keeping up with things like that. Apparently it's too difficult for me to have it just on as like an audiobook. As I get back into the gym here now, I might actually start listening to them again, because they're very high on my list of things I want to listen to. And especially with Thrawn definitely coming into the fray in Ahsoka, very likely, it seems like a good time to actually know more about Thrawn. Michael says, love your channel. Thanks, Michael. Says, just wanted to get your thoughts on an 18+ Star Wars LEGO channel. One not tailored to kids at all. Perhaps a comedic tone with swearing and such. Do you think there's a market? So basically my channel, but with the mouth of a sailor, which I really have when I play Warzone. If you've ever watched me play Warzone, you know dang well how rough it can be. But I mean, there's a market for everything, like, let's be honest. I'm sure some people would get enjoyment out of watching that sort of thing. I even might. I know there was a channel that I found like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember if the channel name was this, or if it was just the name of the series that the channel was doing, but it was called something like Bricks and Booze, and I always found that kind of thing appealing. I don't personally drink alcohol, but honestly, if I did, I probably would do something like that, like getting drunk and building Lego. Like, that would be kind of funny, I think. It could potentially be. It could also potentially be very disastrous, depending on what I would be like when I'm drunk. But like I said, I don't drink, so it's not something that's very likely to ever happen.
Beer, 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 beer.
I can remember how much I have had.
So yeah, there's a market for everything, and if it's something you're interested in doing, I think you should do it. You only get, you know, your one life, you know, kind of a redundant thing at this point for a lot of people, but like really, there's no reason not to give it a shot and see if it's something you enjoy doing, and clearly find out if there's a real market for. Obviously, as you get more niche like that, and especially introducing a lot of swearing, you're gonna have trouble having as big of a market as someone like myself, where I tend to not swear on the channel, but it's definitely not something that nobody would watch. Buenos Dias says, have you heard the rumors of LEGO Star Wars 2022 sets? I heard there was a $30 Y-Wing, ATTE, Microfighter, etc. Are these true? So let's go through the rumors, and then I'll tell you if I think they're true or not. Okay, so I found what I believe to be the same list that you saw, and it's been around since July, and I almost made a video on it back in July, but I didn't, so here we are. And it specifically says that there's a $20 duel on Geonosis with Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku. That would be a good $20 duel set, very possible, I suppose. For battle packs, we have an Imperial Remnant battle pack for $15. That's 2 Dark Troopers, 1 Incinerator Trooper, and 1 Imperial Officer. Kind of a weird battle pack composition, in my opinion, but we'll move along. Mandalorian Super Commando battle pack for $15 as well. 4 Mandalorian Super Commandos, 2 males, 2 females, each use different designs. At a $30 price point, I think a Y-Wing would be too cheap. I don't think they could do it for $30. I think that would be more of a $40 or $50 set, kind of like the X-Wing TIE Fighter, but nonetheless, still there on the supposed rumor list. Microfighter ATT and Vulture Droid Microfighter, a Razor Crest versus TIE Outlander Microfighter set as well to round out the Microfighters there. And then on this third column, we have Luke Skywalker's hut with Luke Skywalker, Uncle Owen, and Aunt Beru. Very possible at $30, I suppose. We have Battle of Naboo for $40 with Jar Jar, Boss Nass, a Gungan Warrior, and 3 battle droids. I don't know, man. They'd have to make a whole new mold for Boss Nass and a $40 set. That's just not right. I'm being facetious about people who defend LEGO for not making new molds for characters that should really have them in cheap sets. That would be great, but as we'll get to, I don't think this rumor list is very real. Imperial Shuttle for $70. We literally already have a set called Imperial Shuttle, so very odd that they would call it Imperial Shuttle on the rumor list at the same price. It says Imperial Crosshair and 3 Elite Squad Troopers, 1 White Clone Trooper. And right there is where I think this whole thing falls apart. 5 minifigs and a $70 set. Fat chance, bro. Not for LEGO Star Wars. And then finally, the Silver Angel for $100. A $100 set in the January wave. Very unlikely to me, but certainly possible. This one specifically, though, is a $100 set. Just never going to happen. The Silver Angel with Trace Martez, Rafa Martez, Ahsoka Tano, and 2 jumpsuit pikes. Look, LEGO is unwilling to do a lot of things, and they are not going to make something based off the 2 most hated characters from the most hated arc of the Clone Wars potentially ever. There's just not a chance in hell. So I'll tell you straight up right now, those rumors are all completely fake, completely false. Not to say that none of those could potentially be sets at some point in the future, but the person that made that up and put it on Instagram made that up and put it on Instagram to try and fool people like you. For what satisfaction, I don't know, but it's there, and so yeah, it's just a fake rumor list. People put those out every once in a while, and it's just gonna happen. But yeah, I would expect real rumors around maybe mid-September. That's when they happened last year, so no reason to expect much different this year. It's just kind of a waiting game at this point, but I will be sure to make a video as soon as something comes out. Michael says, hi, great time meeting you at Brickfair, Virginia. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for coming. He says, have you ever considered adding lighting kits to any of your sets? If so, which ones? I added one to my UCS Millennium Falcon, and it looks amazing. I had to kind of contort to read the rest of the question. I'm glad you like the way your lighting kit turned out in the Falcon, and I'm not exactly sure how the wiring works on the Falcon. It may be all hidden, but my thing in general with LEGO sets is I don't like modifying them. Like, I just collect them the way they come. I don't want to change them. It's just the way I choose to collect, and you can certainly choose to do so differently. But my singular experience with a lighting kit in a LEGO set was in the UCS X-Wing from 2013, and my buddy Brick5 sent me one to do a video on for the channel. And if you want one, I think he might still sell them. I'll put a link to his stuff down there if they do. But essentially, my issue with it is that the wires are exposed, and they dangle, and they just don't look good. And then you have this giant battery pack sitting in the back of it. Like, I had a lot of issues with it, just with the way that it looks. I'm just not a fan of that sort of stuff for me. There certainly obviously is a market for it, and people tend to enjoy it that do get them, but for me, as someone who likes to collect things the way they come out, modifying things like that's just not up my alley. But yeah, I have tried it, and I probably won't ever do it again. Dark Raptor 66, do you ever think there will be another Separatist capital ship set like the Malevolence? I would love to think so, but let's be honest, probably not. I mean, realistically, we could maybe get one as a UCS set in the future as prequel UCS sets hopefully become a little bit more prevalent. I think the most likely would be like the Looser Hulk. They actually just finally made one as part of an advent calendar, I think last year, so has finally gotten some representation in LEGO Star Wars. That to me is like the most likely potential UCS Separatist style set. I mean, maybe as a playset, I think is maybe even more where you're thinking, and that I think would be even more likely, but really we would need some relevant media with the Separatists and Clone Wars and stuff like that, and I don't see that popping up anywhere within the next 5 to 10 years. Michael Ryan says, when, if ever, do you think we'll see a brick separator used as an actual piece in a LEGO set? I've never even given this a second of thought, and that's a really interesting idea. Like, I have no idea what they would use it for. I know there are some challenges where people have used them in mock builds, and it has turned out decently well. Somebody did reply to him, Gallo23, and he says, I always felt it would work as a motorcycle seat, and I think I have to agree with that. I just don't know where else you would really fit it in as an actual piece in a LEGO set. So, I mean, maybe one day, but I just, even for specifically for Star Wars, just not a chance. I don't see where it fits in. Maybe in like a LEGO creator set, that would be like the most potential for something actually having a use for that. Wesley wants to know if I can make a list of the most overrated LEGO Star Wars sets ever. I think I actually might already have the list sitting around on my desk somewhere. Oh, here it is. Matthew says, where's M&R Collects? Is she safe? Is she all right? I keep getting a lot of comments about M&R Collects, and it makes me feel bad because clearly a lot of people actually really like whatever I was doing on there. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I can make another video on that channel until I move. I mean, the return video would be something like my Black Series collection update for like after I've moved and like can get everything back together, because right now like I have Black Series in the storage unit, I have Black Series in the garage, and I have Black Series in here, and they're all just in random places, and I don't know exactly where all of them are to be able to get all of them anymore. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing much on that channel until I literally have a house and can get everything organized to do more things on that channel. But yeah, I really appreciate the continued interest in the channel. There's not much I can do. Maybe actually I'll have a video when I get my little Thrawn head thing, bust thing. I don't know. It should be coming soon-ish, and when I get that, I'll probably do a video on that. But otherwise, it's just content's gonna be pretty thin there until I can get my feet under me. Sammy the Hutt says, how many views, comments, and likes does it take for a video to be considered worth it? Also, I'm a big fan. Love watching you on Twitch. Yes, Sammy, I do remember you, and thanks for tuning in on Twitch all the time. But I don't have like a number. There's not like a number in my head. I don't look at it that analytically. I'm pretty blessed in the case where like most things that I do are gonna pay for themselves and then some. Like my review of like this set paid for it and then some. So there's no exact number of anything really where I'll look at something and be like, oh, this was totally worth it. Although I guess there's a number where it is totally worth it, I suppose, versus like a number where I'll be like, oh, nah, man, it wasn't worth it. I think for the most part, my channel, the way I look at it, is a sum of the parts. And I think like having everything together is more important than looking at anything on a single individual video basis of how well it performed. So yeah, maybe it's something I should be looking at more, but it's not something I really take a look at on any individual video's basis. You know, I could look at something and be like, oh, I spent $550 or whatever it was on the Yavin 4 video, and I don't think it has made that much money yet. And even if it has, let's say the video made $550, that has only covered my initial investment. That does not pay me for like the time that I put into the video that would actually need to be paid to allow someone to continue to do something like that as their job. But that's a video that I still felt was something I really wanted to do, something I wanted to have, and something that I thought was important as like a cool piece of media for me to put out, and something that is one of those things that's like a sum of the parts type of video that even though the video on its own, at least currently, hasn't really netted me a ton of profit, right? I still think it's really cool to have out there and just help build my channel's resume, I suppose. Tom W says, how does the UCS Gunship compare against other UCS sets in your opinion? Talking build only, no minifigures, nothing. I think it's probably a top 7 UCS set. I think it's like, obviously as time has gone on, a lot of the builds have gotten substantially better, but I mean, it genuinely is a great build, and very few UCS sets are minifigure scale, so I don't take that into account with my UCS sets in general. I've always loved UCS sets, period. Like, it's funny to me how it matters with the gunship, but it never mattered with something like the UCS ATST, which is still amazing, or something like the Darth Vader's TIE Advance, both from 2006, just way bigger than minifig scale, but nobody cared then, but now people care because it's the gunship and it was a fan vote. Like, I don't like that, but certainly to each their own, I suppose. I just think it's such a magnificent build. It is absolutely ginormous. It's totally worth the money from a build perspective. And yeah, I really like it. I think it's probably top 7. I think stuff like the Star Destroyer and the Falcon are definitely going to edge it out for me. Of course, the UCS Imperial Shuttle back there, the Slave One, maybe the Sandcrawler. But it's certainly up there. It's definitely one of the better UCS sets. And it is far and away the best prequel UCS set. I was watching a video by a YouTuber named On The Brick the other day, and has given me an idea to do a video in the future, which I'm not gonna like give away now, but essentially he pointed out that every like prequel UCS set has just been bad. And like when I take off my rose tinted goggles of like, I like the prequels, and I like all of Star Wars, to be very frank, and I love it all pretty equally. Outside of Star Wars Resistance, that is the worst thing that has ever happened. But like the prequel UCS sets have been pretty atrocious, and they were also like most of them were made at a time where the LEGO Star Wars sets in general weren't that great. Like we can look back on it and have a good laugh at how they were like, you know, rudimentary for the time. But the few sets that they did make just weren't that good is the point of that. So yeah, this is like the first actually good prequel UCS set. Although I would argue that the UCS Naboo fighter is good, although for $40 for what it was, like a lot of people might have scoffed at that. I don't know. I wasn't really around in the community. There wasn't much of a community in 2002 either. I was also like 4 years old and couldn't afford $40. So anyway, point being, it's a great UCS set, and definitely I think opens the door for more prequel sets because it's going to do well. It's going to perform well. I saw everyone there buying it day one. A lot of people were very excited about it. I mean, it is one of the biggest UCS sets ever too. Like pricing wise, it's what, like the 10th most expensive set ever, right? For LEGO Star Wars. It's really up there, which is pretty surprising. I think it compares very well. And finally, the prequels have a UCS set that like you can point to and be like, yeah, that one actually is on par with all of these other ones. So that's nice. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching Ask M&R 186. If you have a question you want answered, leave in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy. Peace out.